Hi guys! Back to my channel. I thought today I would do a tag that's been going around YouTube for a while, and I'm actually probably pretty late to the party by doing this tag, but it's the Unpopular Opinions book tag. And if you know me at all, I'm actually the kind of person who doesn't really like reading or watching or listening to things that most people like. No, I'm not a hipster. It's what happens to me. I'm not doing that on purpose. So this tag is definitely made for me. It's originally created by the book archer, whose video I will link down below if you want to check out her answers or join in on the fun. So let's get to this. First question. A popular book or series that I hate. Well, this is a very easy question. It is the Twilight series by Stephanie Meyer. Now, don't get me wrong, I tried reading this book, but I couldn't even get halfway through. I hate the very cringy storyline. I hate the exaggerated description of Bella and Edward made by each other. I hate the romanticization of the stalker and violent behavior, and basically just the whole premise. I also hate that it gives vampires a bad rap. I'm sure Dracula is rolling in his grave right now. The only reason the book is still in my house is because my sister loves the series. She even dragged me and my dad to the first film, where my dad fell asleep and I was left hanging, so thanks for that. And the second question. A popular book or series that I love but everyone hates. As someone who doesn't read a lot of popular series, I thought I had to struggle with this one. But then I realized that it could just be a book. And then it suddenly hit me. There's a book that everyone's been talking about and has actually been banned in a lot of countries. Very extreme. But I love it. I'm not just okay with it, like it's not that big a deal, but I actually love it. It is Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. To me, this book is really funny. I think what most people don't realize is that this book is supposed to be read as a satire, so you read it with a smidge of comedy. What I find funny is the irony that Humbert basically kind of kidnaps his Lolita to be able to live together with her, but in the pursuit of doing so, he doesn't realize that he separated Lolita from her parents. Which, for a 12-year-old, if they're separated from their parents, then whoever you are, if you're older than them, then you have to be the parent. And that's what Humbert ends up doing. He ends up parenting Lolita. And when Lolita sulks because she's obviously still a kid, he's frustrated out of his mind. So I think that in itself is like a beautiful comedy. Question number 3. Love triangle or OTP that I don't like. In the book realm, I don't really recall ever feeling like this person should end up with that person, or that OTP is so annoying. What I always remember in terms of love triangle gone wrong is from the Digimon Adventure series, which isn't a book, it's an anime. And yes, there's a book version, but that's not the version that I enjoyed it as, and not the version that I remembered. So I wouldn't count that. Comment down below if you know the love triangle that I'm talking about in that series. But a similar feeling that I get from that love triangle that I feel like I've experienced in the book world is Jo and Laurie from The Little Women. If you've read this book, you might actually relate. You might feel like, yes, exactly, why? But if you haven't and you don't want me to spoil this book, you should just skip to the next part, because I'm going to talk about what actually happens. So, at the time I didn't get it because I feel like they both like each other and they're obviously very well matched. But for some reason, Jo just isn't sure that Laurie's the one for her. And at the time I was kind of sad, but also after Jo makes her decision, she and Laurie move on from the situation, I also moved on. And I felt like that is a pivotal moment in both of their lives, because at that moment they both matured. And even though I was kind of devastated that they didn't end up together, I also felt like, you know what, it's the right decision. It's good. it's great that they don't end up together, because sometimes life is like that. Sometimes you feel like you should have ended up with this person, or that person should have ended up with someone else, but that's not what happens, and it turns out that it's for the best. So yeah. Question number 4. A popular book genre that I hardly reach for. I don't actually know what a popular book genre consists of, but there is a genre that I hardly ever check out. I don't think I've ever really bought anything from this genre, but that doesn't mean I've never read a book from this genre. It's just something that I've never thought of about. It is the crime and mystery genre. I don't know if it's popular, but I guess it is, because people like Agatha Christie and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle are both, among others, are popular for their crime and mystery books, crime and mystery series, crime and mystery, well, let's say it, legacy. So I guess it is popular in a lot of ways, but I never think of reading a crime or mystery novel or crime or mystery series. When I go to a bookstore, I don't approach the crime or mystery shelf almost at all. Question number 5. A beloved character that I don't like. This stumped me at first, because I don't know if any of the characters that I don't like are beloved, or any of the beloved characters that I've read about I find beloved as well. But then it hit me. Holden Caulfield in The Catcher in the Rye. When I first read the book, I thought it was going to be some kind of doctrine, because I've heard that people have committed suicides or homicides through reading this book. But it's not a doctrine at all. It ends up being this really depressive rant by the whiny main character who drops out of college and goes on an adventure for a night, making rash and terrible decisions and complaining about life, saying things like, oh, the world don't matter, or something like that, when he really never even tries to do his best at something. He keeps self-sabotaging himself and going through life like nothing good has ever happened to him because it's someone else's fault. To me, that is just annoying, like really annoying. If it wasn't for the fact that I borrowed the book and I needed to return it to my friend, I think I wouldn't finish the book, because that book, wow. Question number 6. A popular author I can't seem to get into. Okay, now is the part where you guys will hate me, because he is definitely a popular author. He's been popular since before I was born, and he's become more popular even now. And his books have been turned into films that are also very popular, and he even have like an army of fans who call themselves a certain name, which I don't remember. And also, again, my sister loves his work, not in the sense that she will follow everything he does like some people, but enough to be on opposite sides of this of the road. And this is not his most popular work. This is the one I can find at home right now, which so it is J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, come at me with those hate comments, because I just don't like his work. So now you know. I've never read Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. We even actually have the Hobbit at home, like the book, but I don't know where it is at the moment, so I'm using this book just to show his name. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not into fantasy a lot to begin with, but then I feel like Tolkien's works are very dry. Like, they have very little, if not non-romance, and it's very like war-centric, and I don't know, I feel like there's no humor in it as well. But I mean, if you're a fan, you could probably correct me, but this is just the impression that I get from the promotion of the films, and when people talk about his works, they don't talk about these things that I find relatable. So I most likely will not check out any of his works soon, despite the fact that I have a few at home. Question number 7. A popular book trope I'm tired of seeing. There's actually quite a lot, but one that I've always rolled my eyes to when I read this premise on synopsis and on the back of the book is one that goes like this. Girl meets boy, boy becomes the pivotal moment or the pivotal point of girl's life, if that makes sense. So for example, there's this girl named Kelly, whatever. She's usually very invisible, blah blah blah, and then she meets this boy who just transferred to her school, and then he shows her a world, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, and then they become together or they fall in love, blah. Or Kelly again, she has a problematic house, problematic family, and then this boy comes into her life and then suddenly she's all happy. I don't know, I feel like, why does it have to change with the appearance of a boy? Why can't it be something like finding this ancient book in your father's attic, or following a white rabbit down a rabbit hole, or opening a wardrobe and believing your sister that there is another world out there? If you know the references, aside from the rabbit obviously, leave a comment down below. I think this kind of stories teach girls that by finding like the love of your life or a boy that you like, it will solve all your problems. That one person could do it all for you, change your life forever, or solve your problems, or show you an entirely different world, and you'll be a changed person. When the truth is, your life will never change without your consent. And the only way to change it is by changing yourself. I mean, I like romance as much as the next person, but that is the most unsubtle way to introduce romance into the situation, I feel like. Yeah. Question number 8. A popular series I have no interest in reading. There's actually a lot of answers to this question. As I've mentioned, I don't really like reading popular series. I'm not saying I don't like reading popular series, it's the series I've enjoyed reading are mostly not popular. But there's one that I know from the get-go that I will never read, ever. It's actually a very popular one in the booktube world, which is The Mortal Instrument. A couple of my friends also read it and they tend to love it. The reason I know from the first glance why I don't want to read it is because when I see the cover, I mean, I love the cover, the first cover design that I saw, and I was going to like pick it up sometime. But then I saw that Stephanie Meyer said it was a good book, and I quickly backed away. I just don't want to, I don't believe her opinion because obviously her books were crap. So I don't want to experience it. And then also, you know, the Mortal Instrument series has been turned into a movie. I mean, I don't know if it's the whole series, it's one of the books, but then when I caught the film on TV, I was like, cringe, and I decided never to touch that series, ever. Question number 9. What movie/TV adaptation do I prefer than the books? This is the hardest question because I have no idea whatsoever what it could be. I feel like there was something that I felt like, you know what, the film is better than the book, but now I can't seem to remember what film or book it was. I want to say The Maze Runner because I know from a friend of mine who reads the book that the story in the book is different from the film and it's now taking a very different turn, and I feel like I like the film version better. But also at the same time, I've never read the book, despite my willingness to read it. And I also want to say 13 Reasons Why, because I've read the book and I enjoyed it, and I heard that the series kind of dives into the world more than the tapes, but I haven't watched the series. So I thought and thought, what the hell could it be? And I feel like this is one that I could probably say has a better movie adaptation than the book. Let the Right One In by Joan Ivy de Linkvist. The reason I said this book is not as good as the movie is because the movie omits a lot of information from the book, and by doing so it turns around the storyline. So when I watched the film, my impression was that it's a horror romantic film, and I find it very, very adorable. Like, I love the film. It felt very enjoyable. Like, it's kind of a twisted romance. But then I read the book, and it turns out into something else entirely. Because the book, to me, and I think a lot of people would agree, is very, very disturbing. So it's not exactly everyone's cup of tea. Although by omitting the information, the film also loses a lot of the book's appeal. It definitely saves the story from being way, way too disturbing for the public's consumption. Although to say that the story is better in the film than it is in the book, or that the adaptation gives the story something that the book can't, is a little bit hard to say. But that's my 2 cents anyway. So I guess that's it for this month's video. Let me know if you've read any of the books or author or genre in this video. If you've done this tag before or will be doing this tag soon, leave the link in the comment down below. I'd love to check out your answers. If you have any recommendations for next month's video, I'll be more than happy to check it out. Also, there's a blog post that comes with this video. It's just a simple current Indonesian books TBR list of mine. If you have some of the books in that list, please let me know if I can borrow it. We can even swap if you want. And I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month. Bye!